Welcome to the session on cloud management. Uh, I'm going to actually cover some of the new features that were introduced in cloud management. Just kind of go over some of the interesting things that we have developed in the last couple of months on cloud management. I've done like other sessions, like introducing cloud management before, gone into various details with respect to how you can manage, configure Prisma Access with Prisma Access Cloud Management. So today, what I kind of want to do is I want to kind of go through a very important milestone with respect to the cloud management itself. So most of the people who are familiar with cloud management, you would know that the Prisma Access Cloud Management was specifically used to manage Prisma Access security service, which is obviously delivered by Palo Alto Networks. What we have done in the recent releases, we have also introduced the support for next-gen firewalls. So customers who are managing their next-gen firewalls, customers who have actually purchased next-gen firewalls and then Prisma Access, both from Palo Alto Networks, now they have a single console to manage both. Like they could do it with Panorama before, right? But as a cloud-based console, now they can manage both next-gen firewall and then Prisma Access. So what does that entail in terms of like how the customers can go and then configure both next-gen firewalls and then Prisma Access through cloud management? What I want to do is kind of just walk you through all the different changes that we have done, right? From just managing Prisma Access to bringing in next-gen firewalls, right? So let's get started. So this is again, I mean, this is nowhere like a deep dive into like the management of next-gen firewalls. This is actually more of a quick overview into how we are actually bringing things together with Prisma Access and the next-gen firewall. There's a question from Fernando. I read on Reddit about possibility of cloud management with 4.0. Yeah, the 4.0 is more of a Prisma Access release, so it has no connection with the ability to manage next-gen firewalls. Obviously, the cloud management upgrade, which is going to happen to the customers by end of this month, will have the customers will have the capability to, after the upgrade, the customers will have the capability to manage both firewalls and then Prisma Access through the cloud management. So that's essentially, I'm giving you a quick sneak peek into what is coming end of this month for our customers. Right. So there are a couple of changes with respect to the cloud management overall UI itself. We have actually adopted information architecture where the information in terms of be it alerting, monitoring, configuration, or onboarding things with like onboarding next-gen firewalls or onboarding Prisma Access. Prisma Access related users to Prisma Access, and then also reports, logs, and viewers, like all those things have been kind of segmented into different buckets. So the first one, like if you look at it, like you can see dashboards. So this is essentially different information that if you want to look at, like you have dashboards for all those things, right? I mean, this could be wildfire activity, user activity, Prisma Access related activity, and if the customer has DLP or SaaS, right, activities related to that, all those things are shown as dashboards here. And incidents and alerts, of course, this is actually any kind of alerting that the users or the admins should know. People are already familiar with insights, right? So insights are here, and then we have some alerting with respect to customers who are managing next-gen firewall as well. alerts in terms of any important alerts they need to look at, any critical or informational alerts. We classify them and then we let the customers know. Um, Obviously, any kind of troubleshooting, people you're familiar with Palo Alto firewalls or even with Prisma access. After you configure security policies and stuff, if you want to go take a look at the logs, like if the security, if the traffic is matching the policies and stuff, so you can obviously go to log viewer and then you have a bunch of different types of options to go look at the logs, right? Depending on what kind of logs that you're looking at. Then when it comes to monitor, obviously, like I'm not an expert in this area. Like I manage the configuration aspect point of view. Just to give a quick overview, people who are familiar with ADEM as a platform, right? So some of those capabilities are come into monitor, like where you're monitoring the applications to make sure your connectivity from Prisma Access through the internet is actually good to particular applications and stuff. And then there are a couple of other things. Within the monitor, where if you want to monitor different types of parameters like the number of users, how the branch sites are actually how the branch sites are doing with respect to throughput and stuff. So all those things are going to be under monitor. So coming to the important, like one of the important topics of this presentation is obviously the configuration part. So the configuration part is split under manage, and then there are workflows. The manage section mostly is used to manage the security policies, or write security policies and stuff, right? So if I go to configuration, under the configuration, now there is next-gen firewall and then Prisma access. So let me just go ahead and then click on it, right? So with the advent of, or with bringing in next-gen firewall to manage, so there are a couple of other new constructs that we are bringing in. So one is obviously a construct named folder, and then a construct named snippet. The idea with folder is obviously it's already kind of predefined with Prisma Access. It's a collection of a bunch of devices, right? So in Prisma Access, collection of firewalls which terminate or inspect the let's say mobile user traffic, right? So they're actually grouped under Global Protect, right? Nodes which actually service the proxy traffic from the user going out to the internet, they're actually grouped under Exploit Proxy. So taking the same kind of construct and then applying it to next-gen firewall, so you can actually group certain firewalls which are deployed in certain location into a folder, right? I mean, here I have an Asia Pac Singapore hub. This is just a hub which is sitting in Singapore. Like I've actually put it under a folder. That means that I can apply a different set of policies for all these firewalls which belong to this folder. Like I can map different set of policies to this folder. Now, that was more on the folder. A snippet can be thought of as a collection of configuration, right? So it can be thought of as a template, I would say, a template which has certain configuration. You can take a particular snippet. I'm going to just take the West Coast network here, and then what you can do is you can actually go assign the snippet to any of the folders here, right? That means that it is actually more of a collection of configuration. If you want to actually apply the same config to like multiple different regions, I would say, then what you can do is if the devices in those regions are actually aggregated in a particular under a folder, you can actually take the snippet and then apply it to one or multiple folders, right? So on a high level, that's the difference between like a snippet and the folder. So with the upcoming release, customers can use folders and snippets with next-gen firewalls, and then obviously the folders are actually already defined with Prisma access, so they can use snippets with Prisma access or next-gen firewalls, right? Writing a separate set of configuration and then attaching it to different different device folders, or like the folder itself where the accumulation, where the aggregation or aggregation of devices is actually done on the folder. So it can be done there as well, right? So, and the other thing is obviously there's a question here: do folders and snippets translate to device groups and templates? Yes, it's similar to that, but there is some salient differences. But on a high level, you can think of something like that, right? Coming from the Panorama world. So talking about the variables. So obviously, just like variables in Panorama, here there is options to configure variables as well here, right? So there are multiple different types of variables that you can configure. When you configure a variable, you need to obviously select what type of variable it is. This makes it easier for you to author configurations and also kind of actually templatize your configurations, right? And when you're actually doing the association, when you write configurations, you can use variables, and if it's across multiple devices or multiple folders or multiple different places that you want to apply, like at the device level, you can actually go and then do the mapping of the variable to a particular device value, right? Say I create a zone variable, I can create a trust zone variable, and then I can go to device one and say that, hey, device one, zone one that I've created is trust, that maps to the trust variable, zone variable that I created. On device two, zone two maps to the trust variable that I created. So it makes it easier for you to author policies when you need to administrator, or you need to plan for different types of zone on different devices and stuff, right? So those are the three important kind of parameters that actually come in to the next-gen firewall, with the next-gen firewall management into cloud management. Right. So a couple of things here. So in manage, you have the next-gen firewall and Prisma access. So what you can do is you can essentially, in order to look at security policies, overall Prisma access, what kind of security policies you're defined, you can switch the scope to Prisma access or to global protect or to exclusive proxy, go to security policies, and then you can look at the policies which are defined for global protect, right? The same thing, for example, when you go to snippets, if you've written some policies in snippets, I'm going to just take auto VPN as default. And then if you actually go to security policies, I'm already there. So it quickly switched there. You can actually look at what are the security policies which are defined under that snippet, right? If you go to the overview, you can obviously see where are all the snippets associated. So it's associated to these folders: East Coast, West Coast, Europe. All these are the folders where the snippets are associated. A couple of things, people who are familiar with, let me go back to Prisma access here. People who are familiar with web security framework, or the web security way of authoring internet policies. So we've done some changes to the web security as well. So obviously, just to give you some kind of a primer on web security. Web security is an easy way of authoring policies. This is only for internet-based policies, not the traffic which is actually going, which is actually private, internal to enterprises and stuff. But obviously, in most of the enterprises, like, you have a separate admin who manages proxy or the internet traffic security policies and stuff. So in order to make easier for them, so we introduced a framework called Web Security Policy. The idea here is you can write a single rule which translates to like 3 or 4 rules in a regular security policy, or for you to achieve the intent, like what the user multiple policies. What the user or the user before the next-gen firewalls came in, we had web security as a different section, which would sit on the top of regular security policies, and then match the internet traffic, and then apply security based on the rules that are configured to the internet traffic. So here, obviously, what we've done is we have brought in web security under, like if you go to different folders or snippets, we've brought in web security as a configuration option. So within the particular folder, you can write security policies, you can write web security policies as well. So think of it as another layer or another section of security policies, right, where you're writing security policies, and on top of it, you're writing web security policies as well. We do offer snippet level flexibility as well, where there is a default web security snippet. So if you want a web security policy to be applied across like all the folders that you're associating the web security snippet to, then you can actually write a common policy here, and then it gets applied to all the folders that it's associated. You don't have to go to the web security section in that particular folder and then author a policy there. And also, people who are familiar with the DLP and SaaS security, they were brought in as micro frontends to have a single unified experience for our customers. We do have the same flexibility as well, where DLP and then SaaS security are actually brought in as a single, are brought into the same console like before, where the customer has a single admin experience. So it's been just placed under the configuration right now. So just like you have the next-gen firewall on Prisma Access, you have the DLP and SaaS security as well. The next one under manage is the operations. So obviously the operations focus on, like, you've written the configuration, you want to actually push the configurations to the backend firewall nodes, be it Prisma Access nodes or the next-gen firewall nodes, right? So when you're pushing the config, you can actually select the scope, which scope you want to push the config, right? And or you can actually push it to all the devices. And then also we have now the feature of per admin commit. You can actually, as a super admin, you can actually push commit to all the admins. By default, like whoever admin is logged in, like if they click on push, only their changes will go in. If all the configurations currently need to be pushed, then obviously the admins can select on all admins and then push the config. So there is an option for per admin commit or per admin commit flexibility as well, right? So the configuration version snapshots and stuff, there is no difference here. Like it's essentially like what we had before. So if you want to actually go compare what is in your candidate database, whatever you've written, and then you want to compare it with any of the snapshots, you can actually do that. There are two additional options here. Like one is the security posture assessment. Like we had the zero hit rule, we had the policy optimizer. All those things have been brought into the security posture because those helps in because these are the features which help in addressing any security posture gaps that you have in your writing security policies, makes your policies more specific to what you're trying to achieve rather than being generic, and then which opens holes into your enterprise, right? And then there is also something new called policy analyzer, where you can actually if you're authoring a new policy, you can actually run it, and then you can see whether that is actually affecting any of your existing configurations and stuff, right? So just to go through, the last one is access control. And access control, what we have introduced here is more of scope management, like when you're defining your RBACs and you want to actually write some specific permissions to like specific folders or snippets. What you can do is you can actually do that here, the scope management. It's just loading, it's just taking to load a little more. Just let me just do a quick refresh and then quickly walk through what the scope management looks like. Yeah, seems to be some thread in the background which is taking a long time. I'll come back to scope management in a bit. Let me just quickly jump to the workflow and then walk through workflow, and then we can come back to see if the scope management has improved, and then we can access it. Okay. Oh, I think there should be some upgrade going on. Let me just switch to another tenant. Give me 1 second. Yeah, there you go. In terms of the workflows, like we went through the manage, we're going to go through the workflows. In terms of the workflows, obviously people are familiar with Prisma Access workflows, like to onboard Prisma Access, configure infrastructure. All these are going to be present in the Prisma Access setup. So I do not have an extend firewall on this one. The other tenant is I don't know if there is an update going on or something like that, but we'll just give it a few minutes. If it pops up, then we can actually take a look. Okay, I think now it's back on. Okay, there you go. So in the workflows, obviously, like you know about the Prisma Access setup, this is where like you would actually onboard all the Prisma Access users, applications, or sites and stuff, right? And then there is next-gen firewall setup as well. So this is where you would actually do the device management, right? So all the devices that you want to actually that you want to onboard to cloud management, and then also you can actually associate a device to a particular folder as well, right? So what device is associated with what folder and stuff, you can actually control it in the folder management. Other than that, not much. So it's actually pretty much more of a initial workflows where you're trying to set up your infrastructure with Prisma Access, or you're trying to actually get your devices onboarded and then organized in cloud management. The other options are ZTNA connector. I don't want to go into this. Like this more of onboarding applications from your data centers into Prisma Access. And then also with next-gen firewalls, we are actually bringing in the capability to have upgrades done on the next-gen firewalls as well. You can manage, you can schedule your next-gen firewall upgrades, and then also on the Prisma Access, like if you want to actually look at like how you can update your Prisma Access data plane, you can actually have there is an option to go through the Prisma Access upgrade as well. So we're working with some third parties on integrating our products. So all the integrations like with the third parties are going to show up here in the integrations. And finally, there is like reports, like if you want to actually create reports in terms of like this is again for if you want to look at some of the you want to summarize some of the activities and then create reports and stuff. So there is actually option for reporting. So that was a very quick kind of an overview on like what are the new things that are coming into cloud management with the end of this month release, and all the next-gen firewall related constructs which are coming in, how we are actually using this with Prisma Access as well. I'll do another session just to try and jump into some of the use cases with Next-Gen Firewall, some of the workflows that we have introduced with Next-Gen Firewall, like setting up auto VPN and like HA, how we simplified some of the HA workflows and stuff in another session. So I'll actually cover some of the workflow optimizations that we have done with Next-Gen Firewall, just similar to like one of the sessions that I did before with Prisma Access onboarding, how we have simplified some of the workflows with Prisma Access onboarding. So that was pretty much it from my side. This was again like a just quick walkthrough. Just wanted to give a quick sneak peek into what is actually coming down the lane with the recent with the upcoming release of the recent upgrade on cloud management.